Soil and Agriculture, Topic 5, Part 1. In this topic, you will learn on soil profile, types of soil, the importance of soil and soil moisture, and causes of soil pollution. Soil is a mixture of inorganic and organic materials with variable amounts of air and water. The inorganic materials include clay, silt, sand, gravel, and rocks. The organic component consists of living and non-living plant and animals materials. The living organisms include insects, earthworm, and microorganisms. The non-living matters include plant and animal wastes in various stages of decomposition. Weathering is the mechanical or chemical processes by which rocks are broken down into smaller pieces. As rocks are broken down, they mix with organic materials, which are those materials that originate from living organisms. Soil formation is a complex and slow process, even under the best of conditions. It results from an interaction between the parent material, the underlying substrate from which soil is formed, and the organism. The time it takes for soil to develop depends partly on the type of the parent material. To form a 2.5 centimeter of topsoil from a hard rock, it may take 200 to 1,200 years depending on the climate. Soil is also vitally important to the sustainability of an ecosystem because it serves as the natural medium for the growth of vegetation. Soil is made of air, water, mineral particles, organic matter, and organisms. Half of soil is pore space. Generally, pores are about half filled with water and half air, though the proportion varies greatly depending on weather, plant water use, and soil texture. Most of the soil portion of soil is mineral particle. Organic matter may make up only 5% to 10% of the volume of soil, but it is critical in holding soil particles together, storing nutrients, and feeding soil organisms. Soil scientists recognize five major horizons. The uppermost region of the soil is the O horizon, or the little layer. It is a relatively thin layer of organic waste from animals and detritus. Normally, it is dark and rich in color. The A horizon, or the topsoil, is the next layer. It varies in thickness from 2.5 centimeter in some regions to 60 centimeters in the rich farmland of Iowa. Topsoil is generally rich in organic and organic materials, and it is important because it supports crops. It is darker and looser than the deeper layers. The organic matter of topsoil is called humus, and it acts as a sponge holding the moisture. Grassland has the deepest A horizon. Meanwhile, the B horizons, or the subsoil, is also known as the zone of accumulation because it collects mineral and nutrients leached from above. This layer is lightly colored and much denser than the topsoil because it lacks organic matter. The next layer is the C horizon, which is a transition zone between the parent material below and the soil layer above. The D horizon is the parent material from which soil are derived. Water contained in soil is called soil moisture. The water is held within the soil pores. Soil water is the major component of the soil in relation to plant growth. If the moisture content of a soil is optimal for plant growth, plants can readily absorb the soil water. Soil water dissolves salts and makes up the soil solution, which is important as medium for supply of nutrients to growing plants. These are some of the importance of soil moisture. First, water is essential for photosynthesis. Second, the soil water serves as a solvent and carrier of food's nutrients for plant growth. Soil also acts as a nutrient itself. The soil water regulates soil temperature. Soil forming processes and weathering depends on water. Microorganisms require water for their metabolic activities. And lastly, the soil water helps in chemical and biological activities of soil. A good quality soil usually have good structure, resist crusting and have minimal compaction. A good soil also have plenty of earthworms, a fresh and earthy odor, readily decomposed residue. A good soil also have good drainage, water movement, and water holding capacity. It encourages seedling emergence and root growth. It is usually produce uniform crop growth and color. The good quality soil have nutrients, an optimum pH and organic matter. It only suffered little wind, water or tillage erosion and will be resistant to it. Soil pollution is defined as the contamination of soil in a particular region. Soil pollution may be any chemicals or contaminants that harm the living organisms. Soil pollution is a result of penetration of harmful pesticides and insecticides that deteriorate the soil quality, making it unfit for later use. Soil contamination is caused by xenobiotics components or alteration of natural environment. This is usually caused by industrial activity, agriculture chemicals, and improper disposal of waste, soil spill, radioactive waste, and many more. Industrial activity has been the biggest contributor to the problem in the last century, especially since the amount of mining and manufacturing has increased. Most industries are dependent on extracting minerals from the earth, whether it is iron, ore, or coal. The byproducts are contaminated and they are not disposed of in a manner that can be considered safe. As a result, the industrial waste lingers in the soil surface for a long time and makes it unsuitable for use. Chemical utilization has gone up tremendously since technology provided us with modern pesticides and fertilizers. They are full of chemicals that are not produced in nature and cannot be broken down by it. As a result, they seep into the ground after they mix with water and slowly reduce the fertility of the soil. Other chemicals damage the composition of the soil and make it easier to erode by water and air. Plants absorb many of these pesticides, and when they decompose, they cause soil pollution since they become a part of the land. Oil leaks can happen during storage and transport of chemicals. This can be seen at most of the fuel stations and workshops. The chemicals present in the fuel deteriorates the quality of soil and make them unsuitable for cultivation. These chemicals can enter into the groundwater through soil and make the water undrinkable. Soil pollution can be controlled by first reducing deforestation and begin reforestation. Soil erosion can occur when there are no trees or few plants to prevent the top layer of soil from being removed and transported by forces of nature, such as water and air, which contribute to soil pollution. Secondly, avoid intensive farming practices. For example, overcropping and overgrazing can lead to flood and soil erosion and further deterioration of the soil layer. Third, reduce your waste footprint. Waste such as plastics, non-biodegradable materials, and litter can accumulate in the fertile land, polluting and altering the chemical and biological properties. Fourth is by soil washing. This method uses water to remove contaminants from soil by scrubbing soil to remove and separate the portion of the soil that is most polluted. Fifth, bioremediation. This technique used and triggered the growth of naturally occurring microorganisms to break down contaminants and remediate soil pollution by using them as a food source during the aerobic processes, which require the right temperature, nutrients, and amount of oxygen in the soil. 6. By using soil additive, such as lime and organic matter from composting, can adjust soil pH to sustainable levels and reduce the soil erosion and pollution. 7 is by reducing the use of chemicals, pesticides, fertilizer, insecticides, and weedicides. These harsh chemicals may kill the intended weeds or insects that can damage and stunt the proper growth of the plant, but they are not easily broken down or accumulate in the soil and can be responsible for depleting the fertility of the soil. And it can be a threat not only to the plants but also to the animals and human consuming. 8. Eliminate weeds which absorb the necessary minerals out of the soil. A common method of reducing weed growth is to prevent light from reaching the weeds in order to kill them by covering the soil with numerous layers of wet newspapers or a plastic sheet for several weeks before cultivation. Ninth, through public awareness. Informal and formal public awareness programs should be imparted to educate people on health hazards by environmental education. And lastly, by banning the usage of toxic chemicals. Ban should be imposed on chemicals and pesticides like DDT, BHC, and etc., which are fatal to plants and animals. Nuclear explosion and improper disposal of radioactive wastes also should be banned. So that's all guys for this topic. See you in the next topic on soil conservation techniques. Bye.